In this video, I would like to show you the very cool effect called video collage. And it's a split screen effect. Now, imagine that you have a two-person conversation. I have a woman speaking, and then I have another person reacting to her speech, and then I switch back to her. It's a traditional way of showing two-person dialogue on screen. Like you have two camera angles and full screen of one person, and then full screen of another person, which is like a traditional way. But what if we have like more than one or two persons speaking and reacting? What if we have like another lady involved? Well, it's a little bit too complicated. What if we could just show them on one screen at the same time? And maybe add some animations, add some graphics, add layers to them with titles saying, hey, this is Mark, this is Helen, this is Kate, and they are interacting. And create a show, just with these angles. Maybe it's a Zoom call conversation or Microsoft Teams conversation, and you recorded each and one of them separately. Now, another example of this effect is for social media like Instagram Reels or TikTok or YouTube Shorts. You can have two people already split screened evenly, top and bottom, or maybe you would like to add some more visual elements, a border and maybe a background layer beneath them. That's another way to do it, and it's all within the effect called video collage. You can also use this effect just to highlight some travel shots or any highlighted events that happened recently in one video and have a split screen evenly. Now, the effect I like to use most is for presentations. Instead of having a person speaking and then switching to her slides or, a slideshow of photographs or maybe some key elements, in this case, it's just a video of some numbers. Instead of just having a full picture here and there, you can also split it in half or whatever you want. Now, here's an example. This is what I'm talking about. A layout of her maybe on the left side and a presentation on the right side, and then maybe add some lower thirds, overlays beneath, or, add some logos on top, and then you have like more than just an angle of her picture full screen and the presentation picture full screen. If you want, you can also select another position to maybe show her on the right side. Another example would be if you want to make it bigger, it's also possible, then she would be more narrower. Or another effect, if you have another person involved, maybe it's a conversation and you want to have a coverage. This is kind of a format that I always see on television when they have an event happening and the coverage is over here, and then the host of the show or the program is asking questions and the guest is answering. Well, then you can decide to do it. Now, let me show you how to achieve this effect. And let's go to this example with the multiple people speaking. Actually, I have prepared already in my media pool. I have already these folders with the clips, and the one I want to show you is in this folder, podcast. Now, let me bring that shot over here in this timeline. So I have a two people interview for a podcast show. I have a close-up of a guy, and I have a close-up of a girl, right? So I will like put them like so, and then imagine they are in sync. So you have like one person, two-person talking, then they switch to the angle and show like her talking, and maybe then there's the boy's reaction, right? So that's the one way to edit it as a traditional way. You have a full-scale picture of one shot, then another shot, and then the third shot. And it's fine. But what if I want to have them both together on two sides? Now, in that case, I would love to have them, well, let's just label. This is our boy. I want him to be color blue, so it will be easier for us to understand what is what. And the girl she's in red shirt, so let's label her violet, like so. It's more appealing to understand what is what. And this is just a white shot, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to paste this layer. I'm going to hold Alt and just, drag it here. That's the one shot. This is our boy. I want him to be in a split screen on the left side. And I want to add that same effect that I was introducing, the video collage. I can close my media pool for now. I go to Effects, and then I go to Open Effects, Filters, and then I can find Video Collage. Instead, we can just type it, Video Collage, and then show up. Yeah, this is the effect that I'm talking about. It's the fastest way to find the effect. And then I'm going to just drag and drop it to my layer. And then immediately you'll see it will introduce this, like, a transition or some kind. That's not what we want. Let's close the effects panel and go to inspector panel. Now, the first thing you'll notice is the menu of the open effects for video collage. It creates a background. So it's like makes cut out of the video. That's not what we want. There's an option that nobody that talks about often, but there's an option to create a tile, and that's what we want. We create a tile. So these 4 boxes that we had, it turns this into a box. And we have already a split screen that was by default of 4 boxes. If we press this button, preview layout, and check it, you can see a preview. So we had four boxes, and our shot is in the box 1. And we want to create 2 boxes. So this is the menu where we want to play with. Columns. How many columns do we want? Do we want more than 2 columns? Do we want like 3, 4, or you see where I'm getting, right? And yes, I want 2 columns. How many rows do I want? Do I need another one below? Do I need more than 1? No, I need just 1. This is the setup I want to go with. And now, if I uncheck it, I will have my person here. Now, you can kind of see that he's a little bit off screen, right? He's a little bit to the left edge. We can correct that. We can go from globals to tiles. If we switch to tiles, we can now adjust his position by going to resize content. And here we just drag the slider to the right, the panning. If we are not satisfied with his vertical position, we can also achieve this effect, but then you will be introduced of the color. That's for the styling. I will show you it a little bit later. Okay, good. Let's leave it as is for now. What if we want to stylize it even more? We can add some borders, like, that edge. Let's try and see what we get. All right, so this is the edge that I would love to keep. Excellent. I can change the color if I want. For example, maybe not this one, but, something green. This would do just fine. It kind of fits the background. Cool. I like it. I want to create the same effect for the girl over here. I'm going to grab this image. I will copy it by holding Alt and duplicate the layer over here. Let me just make it full screen. If I watch and see what I have, I don't have this layer because it's underneath. I need to create something for this one, right? So what I'm going to do, now, if I press D button, I will disable and enable, just so you know. Okay, good. What I want to do is I want to copy all these effects instead of just recreating everything from scratch by going effects and drag and dropping it to the girl's video footage. I want to copy the same effect that I already created for the girl. And I'm going to do it by going to right-click on the boy, and I'm going to copy. Ctrl-C is the same effect. You can also press Ctrl-C, it's the same stuff. And then I'm going to enable my footage of a girl, right? And then I'm going to right-click and paste attributes. Or you can just press Alt-V, paste attributes. You will be introduced to this dialog box. And what we want to copy is the effects panel. Now, it's very strange why, but DaVinci Resolve doesn't say effects in this menu, it says plugins. So plugins is sort of the same way that you have here. This is everything you have inside. Plugins is what I want to copy. I can also select everything else, but I haven't changed anything. So only thing I need is plugins. And then I click apply. And now I have my girl on the left side. Now, the only thing we need to change is to have her on the right side. Remember, we had her on the left side, the preview layout. We want her not here, we want her here on the second tile. And how to do that? If we are in the tiles section, not the globals, right? in the tiles section, we just need to select that it's not the active tile number 1, but it's the active tile number 2. And then we go and resize the content, adjust it a little bit. Resize content, panning, and let's fit her to the left side. Voila. Now, if we go to the beginning of the shot, we can see the dialogue of two persons talking. Now, you may ask me, Daniel, but why do we have these black borders? I don't want this as a background, right? And you're right, it's not that interesting. We need to create a background. In my example here, we had a beautiful background of colors on top, blue and yellow on the bottom. Let's create the same effect here. All we have to do is have these two layers on the second or maybe third track, and we'll put a background layer over here. How to achieve this? We go to Effects, we go to Generators. I had my video collage search bar activated. Let's delete this for now. It's not the filter that I want to choose. Yes, I'm in the generators, and the generators I'm looking for is this one, 4-color gradient. If I just press and drag it to the first track, I will have my background. We can close the effect for now. Now, this is the effect we can adjust. 4-color gradient. If I click it, and in my inspector window, I will see that I can change the colors for each of the corners. Upper left is now red. Let's switch it to maybe bluish. I will leave it blue color. Now this one could be a little bit of green. Same goes for the left bottom. This could be purplish, like so. And this could be too bright. Let's make it a little bit the same color, purple one. Good, and here you are. So this is what we achieved. If, for example, we don't like the color of this border, we can always go back and maybe have the boy green and the girl a different color. I mean the border, the edge of the window she's in. So I'm going back to my effects panel, open effects, tiles, style styling, and then I just change the color to be maybe this color, yellow, right? That's another way to have them like more interesting. What else I can do? I can add shadows. I can go to this drop-down menu and I can just apply a shadow, a strength. So take a look closer here. You see, I'm adding a dimension, some more, depth to the shot. Maybe blur it out. Excellent. Now, this time, it's better to have the style ready beforehand and not play with one and another, because I would like to have the same effect for this guy, right? So maybe it's a better way to just copy the values for the strength, then go to the layer of the boy, go to the styling, go to drop shadow. Yeah, the color is the same that I want to keep. The strength, I'm copying the value, which is 535. Good. And there was also a blur effect that I changed, right? So I'm going back. I'm trying to see what else I've changed. And drop shadow. And yeah, the blur amount is 396. I'm copying, just Control C or Command C if you're on a Mac. Tile styling, drop shadow, right? And I'm copying this blur effect, the boy. 326. Cool. And here we are. So I kind of like this effect and we can play with it. Now, if, for example, you want to copy this effect, you just go here, you go copy, right? Or Control C, and then you copy the same effect. For example, let's have another person, maybe this guy over here, right? If you want to copy this effect, you just go here, you had Control C, and then you just press Alt V or paste attributes. Plugins, apply. And then you have it here. And it goes on and on. Now let's go to the reels and see how can we do something for the vertical video, okay? Let's start from scratch. First, how to create a timeline that is vertical. Well, if we go here to the timeline that we already have, the one method, for example, this one, right, is to duplicate the layer we already have. Let me just go and grab these as an example. So I'm here, right? I have a timeline called multiple people. Where is my timeline? I cannot find it. I don't know how to find my timeline, where it is in my media folder. I can right click on it and then select find timeline in media pool. Cool. So this is my timeline. Now I want to keep it because I want to have a horizontal view of this sequence. What I want to create is another duplicate of this. I'm going to right click on the timeline and then I'm just going to press duplicate timeline. And I've created another copy of it. If I go, I will probably rename it as vertical, okay? And now we can go and adjust this timeline settings to set it for vertical. I can open it, timelines, open timeline. Here you go. Now, if you don't see these tabs, that's because you haven't activated it here. This is the way you activate your tab, so you can switch from timeline to timeline, okay? Now, I'm in the timeline called multiple people vertical, and I want to create this timeline to be vertical. The one way to make it vertical is by going to settings. When you have your timeline, you go to timeline, timeline settings. These are all the settings you have, and you see that it's grayed out. For now, it's like 1920 by 1080, but I want it to be at 1080 by 1920. So I need to uncheck this mark right here, right? And then I just have to either type it at 1080 by 1920, or I just hit vertical, use vertical resolution. As for this is kind of important, and I would ask you to select this option right here, scale entire image to fit. This will help us. And then I click OK. And immediately you can see that we have converted our timeline into vertical. And of course, you can understand that because we had 2 columns and 1 row, it had this vertical video split into columns and 1 row. What we have to change, and then I can just like close the media pool for now and go to our girl or boy. Let's start with the girl because she's on the right. And then I go to the effects panel and then I go to globals. And what I want to do is I just want to have 1 column, right? It's just 1 row and 1 column. So I hit 1 here and 1 here and 2 rows, right? So I want to have 1 on the top and 1 on the bottom. Cool. Now let's disable the boy for now because it's like confusing. Let's work with the girl. Now, if you want, you can leave it as a window mode, or in this case, I want to have the exactly same effect that I had here, full scale picture of the top and bottom. And let's go here again, multiple people vertical, and play with the settings. Again, I'm selecting the footage, left margins over here. Let's reduce these to minimum. Corner angles, you see these roundings of corners? That's the option over here. It's a little bit invisible, but we can just make it more sharper. Good. Next, horizontal spacing and vertical spacing. No need for that. Cool. Now you see we adjusted the pan beforehand. This time we need to correct it as we had before. We go to tile styling and we just, oh, not styling, sorry, resize content. And well, instead of just, selecting this to the 0, we can just press this arrow here to reset the position. Excellent, cool. Now what we need to do is to make her fit the yellow box. And to do that, we just use the zoom slider over here. And I like to hold the numbers over here with my left mouse button and just drag to the right or to the left, depending on what you want to achieve. I'm just holding and dragging to the right so that she could fit the image. Now, why doesn't she cover all the yellow boxes? Because we had a styling of a border. Remember, like about 20 points or so, we'll reset it to 0. like so. Maybe shadow. Yeah, we don't need a shadow for now, so we can just reset everything we had before, apply it to all the shadows, no need to this, right? So the strength is for 0 and the blur is for 0, everything is in 0. Excellent. And now what we need to do is to copy these effects for the boy. We just go to copy here, copy. Our boy is here, right? And we go here and paste attributes. We paste the attributes, we double check that we have these plugins enabled, and we hit apply. Nothing happened. Why? Because we have the boy just under the girl. If I disable the layer, you'll see the boy. What we need to do is we need to set this track, the boy, to be not tile 1, but tile number 2. And then you have him on the bottom. Excellent. If we want, we can just readjust his position like so, and then you have a vertical video of 2 people talking, like so. With video collage, you can give each speaker their spotlight while maintaining a connection between them.